The Existential Crisis Hotline. The Existential Crisis Hotline. The Existential Crisis Hotline. The Existential Crisis Hotline. The Existential Crisis Hotline.
Hello, everyone. Existential Crisis Hotline. Friday nights. Got some weird stuff to show you tonight. Really weird, in fact. I don't know why this popped into my head, but I was thinking about the conspiracy theory that pigs, or is it pigs are genetically engineered humans, or the other way around? I don't know. I don't know what the conspiracy theory is. Something about pigs and humans being somehow hybrids of each other or something. So, you want more raccoons and goblins, Sandra? What is a goblin? Does anyone even know what a goblin actually is? Well, let me show you this first, and maybe we'll, you never know where things might take us, where the night will take us. Let me show you this. No, not this Autechre video. I was just doing a little research, i.e. searching Google. And I found this article from whatever this is, JHUR, Journal of Health Economics and Outcomes Research. All right. The title of the article is Pigs with Human Brain Cells and Biological Chips. How Lab-Grown Hybrid Life Forms Bamboozles Scientific Ethics. Julian Copland, Monash University. What is that? Never heard of it. It's Australian, I guess. Earlier this month, this was written in October 2023. Earlier this month, scientists at the Guangzhou Institutes of Biomedicine and Health, which I'm assuming is in China, yes, announced they had successfully grown humanized kidneys inside pig embryos. The scientists genetically altered the embryos to remove their ability to grow a kidney, then injected them with human stem cells. The embryos were then implanted into a sow and allowed to develop for up to 28 days. The resulting embryos were made up of mostly pig cells, although some human cells were found throughout their bodies, including the brain. However, the embryonic kidneys were largely human. This breakthrough suggests it may soon be possible to generate human organs inside part human chimeric animals. Such animals could be used for medical research or to grow organs for transplant, which could save many human lives. But the research is ethically fraught. Why would you say that? We might want to do things to these creatures we would never do to a human, like kill them for body parts. Like we're not already doing that for pigs. When I slaughter a pig, I'm killing it for its body parts. So I don't see what the ethical problem is. Not that I don't have a problem with this in some other sense, but the problem is these chimeric pigs aren't just pigs, they're also partly human. If a human-pig chimera were brought to term, should we treat it like a pig, like a human, or like something else altogether? Maybe this question seems too easy, but what about the idea of creating monkeys with humanized brains? What do you mean, the idea? Why is that highlighted? You're worrying me. Human monkey chimeras for modeling human disease, opportunities and challenges. Reject the cookies. I don't want the cookies. What? 2005? The search for a better animal model to simulate human disease has been a holy grail of biomedical research for decades. Recent identification of different types of pluripotent stem cells, PS cells, and advances in chimera research might soon permit the generation of interspecies chimeras. I'm going to move the mic a little closer. From closely related species, such as those between humans and other primates. Here we suggest that the creation of human primate chimeras, specifically the transfer of human cells into non-ape primate hosts, could surpass the limitations of current monkey models of neurological and psychiatric disease, but would also raise important ethical considerations concerning the use of monkeys in invasive research. Monkey models. All right. Chimeras are only one challenge among many. Other areas of stem cell science raise similarly difficult questions. In June, scientists created synthetic embryos, lab-grown embryo models that closely resemble normal human embryos. Tell me more about that. Synthetic embryos created a groundbreaking advance. Scientists have created synthetic human embryos using stem cells in a groundbreaking advance that sidestepped the need for eggs or sperm. Did you know this was going on? Cheeky, Keith. Would they be police officers? Remember the movie The Island? Pretty sure this is the prequel. I do remember that movie vaguely. I also remember the movie The Island of Dr. Moreau, which I think was also along the same lines. My headphones cord is extremely short today. Oops. Movie The Island. The Island Man. Scarlett Johansson. First movie I saw her in was Lost in Translation, which I really liked that movie for some reason. I liked weird movies when I was younger. Wasn't that about clones? Talking about The Island? Yeah, I guess so. Lincoln 6 Echo and Jordan 2 Delta. Are these about some of Elon Musk's children? Live with others in an isolated compound. This dystopian community is governed by a strict set of rules. A lottery system. The winner is then used for organ harvesting. Congratulations, you've won. Yeah, they're clones for like wealthy people. That's right. What was The Island of Dr. Moreau about? That was a weird movie too. Moreau's Island. While exploring, he hears cries and enters a laboratory where he witnesses a human/llama mutant give birth, with doctors attending to the delivery. And there's a whole bunch of mutants. He introduced human DNA into animals in search of a higher being incapable of harm. The existing beast folk are imperfect, but Moreau claims to be close to a solution. He's like, I'm going to harm a bunch of people so I can figure out how to create something that doesn't harm. You could just choose not to. Not to do that. Yeah, that's a weird... I just remember it being very like a weird movie to watch. Never Let Me Go? I don't think I've even heard of that one. Movie, Never Let Me Go. 2010. When would you have seen this? And I don't know about it. Oh, 2010. Well, a hood one. Oh, it's like, it's not the vibe I get from the picture. Organs, clones for organs. Yeah, okay. Weird. Scientists say these model embryos, which resemble those in the earliest stages of human development, could provide a crucial window on the impact of genetic disorders and the biological causes of recurrent miscarriage. The structures do not have a beating heart or the beginnings of a brain, but include cells that would typically go on to form the placenta, yolk sac, and embryo itself. Weird. Oh, thanks for the ads. Okay, like human pig chimeras, synthetic embryos straddle two distinct categories. In this case, stem cell model and human embryo. It's not obvious how they should be treated. Human cerebral organoids, lab-grown mini brains. Dude, I'm learning all kinds of stuff tonight. Oop. Lab-grown mini brains produce electrical patterns that resemble those of premature babies. That is crazy. They're doing some weird stuff out here. Cerebral organoids don't mimic the development of a whole person. They think mini brains are not conscious, but the field is developing rapidly. It's not far-fetched to think a cerebral organoid will one day wake up. Complicating the picture even further are entities that combine human neurons with technology like Dish Brain, a biological computer chip made by Cortical Labs in Melbourne. What's up with Australia, man? Okay. Brain cells in a dish learn to play Pong. Live biological neurons show more about how a brain works than AI ever will. 800,000 brain cells living in a dish can perform goal-directed tasks. In this case, the simple tennis-like computer game Pong. This was October 2022. Let's see, when was the actual study done? Published in Nature. 2022, December, yeah. Wait, how did they write the article in October, but the article was published in December? By building a living model brain from basic structures in this way, scientists will be able to experiment using real brain functions rather than flawed analogous models like computer. We're trying to create a dose-response curve with ethanol, basically get them drunk and see if they play the game more poorly, just as when people drink. What the hell? This is crazy, right? Like, I didn't even know this kind of stuff was happening. A new moral framework. It might be tempting to think we should settle these questions by slotting these entities into one character or category or another. Human or animal, embryo or model, human person or mere human tissue. This approach would be a mistake. The confusion sparked by chimeras, embryo models, and in vitro brains show these underlying categories no longer make sense. What happens when the AI god starts doing experiments on us? Or maybe it is already. I heard a wild theory today. I was listening to a podcast with, do you guys remember Blossom? The actress from Blossom, and she was in Big Bang Theory. Her name's like Mayim Bialik or something, and she has a podcast. It's the most millennial podcast I've ever seen, and I'd seen an episode of her podcast like last month when we were driving to Florida. It popped up when I was looking into dissociative identity disorder, and I was trying to find a link between that and like the MK Ultra type stuff. And her podcast came up, and they were talking to people about like CIA mind control. I was like, what? And then I found that, it popped up in my algorithm. I found this video of them interviewing Daryl Anka. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Let's see. Who's watching Jonathan Bird? Not me. This one right here.
Hypothesis.
So I'm just going to give you a brief review, but I want you to hear this one part. So Daryl Anka, he channels this guy, this entity named Bashar. And he's either the greatest con man of all time or he channels this entity called Bashar, who, he's got a sci-fi book list. I have to look at that in a second. But basically, channels this guy named Bashar, and it's an entity from like 3,000 years in our future. I don't know if that's technically correct. They're like 3,000 years more advanced than us, but they live in a parallel dimension overlaid on our reality. And so you can't see them and they can't see us, but they can kind of like telepathically connect. And he gives this whole, it's actually very interesting because he was kind of like holding a skeptical viewpoint of all of his experiences. Yeah, hold your damn horses, K-pop. I will show the screen. I'll show it. I'll show it so hard that you'll never forget. The thing is, if I put it on here, I'll get distracted. So I can see it, but you can't. But I will put it on in a second. But anyway, so he's channeling this entity that. So he I'm going to tell the story instead of watching the whole damn thing. I'm just going to tell part of the story and then I'll play part of the clip. So basically, in the 70s, he was driving with some friends in LA, and I'm never going to show it, Keith. Now that you said that, I'm never showing it. I'm just going to listen to it but put it on mute. So I'm going to mute it on my side so you guys can't hear it, or on your side. But anyway, so he's driving probably on the 5, I'm guessing. And anyways, he's in LA, he's driving with his friends, and this fucking UFO appears out of nowhere, like clear as day, right in front of, like 70 feet away, or 70 yards, 70 feet. And they were like, what the fuck? And then it went away. Then that was weird, right? He was like, that was weird. What the hell was that? And then it happened again a week later. And I think they like followed it for a bit, and then it like disappeared. And he was like, okay, that was really weird that we saw it again. And he said at the time, like growing up, he was like an artistic person, creative person, but had no interest in UFOs, like never thought anything about it more than anybody. Didn't believe in UFOs, nothing like that. And because of those experiences, he was like, dude, what the hell? So he said he went to like a bookstore. Their whole metaphysics section was like this big on UFOs or whatever. And so he started going down and reading all the books and started learning about UFOs. And that got him into learning about other kind of paranormal stuff like channeling. He read the books on like Seth and some of these other things. And then he went to like a workshop of somebody who was channeling, and because he was interested in it. And then when he was there listening to them, he said one thing he noticed was the person like when they were channeling whatever they were channeling, they were saying really cool stuff, he said, that was like somewhat practical and, kind of around the point of like developing your creative abilities and things like that. And he said, but then like as soon as the person would stop channeling, he'd be like, all right, where's my cigarettes? And like just like a totally not at all the person that was like even like applying the things that the entity was saying. He was like, that was weird. But he liked the stuff that this entity was saying. And at one of the seminars, they told everybody that they were going to be putting on another seminar that would like teach you how to channel. And he said he wasn't going from the perspective of like he was actually going to learn how to do it. He just thought it was interesting. And so, and I'm just telling his story. So he's at this workshop, and then they were doing like a guided meditation, like a typical kind of thing, like, breathe. And it was like, focus on a certain color and, like a guided meditation. You've probably done these things before, right? So he said like 15 minutes into it, suddenly he saw this, like, he got this telepathic vision slash message from like an entity that was like talking to him clear as day from his perspective, telling him his name was Bashar, and I forget what all it told him, but he said when that happened, like the person who was on the stage doing the channeling like stopped and like looked at him and said, there's an entity that wants to connect with you, and if you're open to it. And then he said the lady behind him, he turned around for whatever reason, and she was like drawing a picture because she was seeing what this guy Daryl Anka was seeing, and she was like drawing a picture of the entity that he saw like in this vision. He was like, what the fuck? So then he was like, there must be something here. And then he started basically channeling this entity. And actually it's interesting too. He wasn't like, okay, I'm going to start channeling and doing all this. It was like he also had this realization as part of the message, the telepathic communication, that he had made an agreement before he was born on this earth to, at a certain point, do this and bring some kind of message forth. Okay. And so he said there was a woman also. So then, okay, because he was doing it, the other entity was like, hey, you're really good at this. Like, we should kind of do this together. So he would start doing some of the workshop stuff with them. And then there was a woman there who was a researcher into psychic phenomena or channeling. She worked at a university and she wanted to do a study. So he would go to her house or something, and then he would channel, and then she would take notes on stuff. And then eventually, like, she'd invite a friend, and then they'd invite friends. And then suddenly it was like, there'd be like 20 or 30 people there listening. And then people would invite him to come talk. And so it kind of just evolved over time to where he's at now, like, I don't know, 40 years later, still doing it, right? But the thing that was interesting to me, and the way he says this very specifically is really interesting, and it kind of ties back to all the stuff we've been talking about, like the disclosure stuff, right? He starts going into that. But when he's explaining some of the background as to who this entity apparently is, he says it in a way, he said like, because the host, Bialik, is like, did you know this from the beginning, all this background? And he kind of made it like, not exactly, like it was revealed to me a few years ago. Like, it wasn't even that long ago that it actually explained to him a lot more context, which I just thought was really kind of weird. But anyways, I want to play a little bit of it. I didn't bring my other book. I'm reading Closer Encounters by Jason Giorgiani. And his whole theory is that when you go and look at all of the abduction phenomena, and it's, I don't know how to explain this phenomenon. There's probably some term for it. I don't know. I'm sure it's probably not that profound actually, but like, have you ever just kind of randomly heard about things? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that's not paranormal. Okay, like actually a perfect example, a similar example would be like when we talked about Thomas Jefferson and the founding fathers, and how, growing up in America, I always heard, more so lately, but I've always heard it throughout my life, like America was founded as a Christian nation. And then I was like, is that true? Like, I think I was doing a search on Google and I was looking up something about Thomas Jefferson, and someone was talking about his perspective on something. And I was like, that doesn't line up with the Christian perspective. And I've told this story already, but just for context. And I had seen some clips from Mark Levin on Fox News. It was online, but I saw the clips from Fox News where he was talking about, if you don't support the founding of Christianity and Judeo-Christianity of this country, you're not a patriot. You don't believe in America. And I was like, something's off there, man. So anyways, then I started looking at Thomas Jefferson, and I find out he absolutely was not a Christian. And most of the founding fathers were like absolutely not Christian at all. There was only one major founding father, I don't remember his name, that was a pretty hardcore, ardent Christian. So it's like, I don't know what that phenomena is. Maybe it's just called becoming educated. But when you have an idea of something that you've heard little bits and pieces, it's like in the cultural milieu, the zeitgeist, and then you start looking into it further. So in this context, growing up, I've always heard about UFOs and aliens, and you probably heard about grays and stuff like that. And I don't know what my dogs are barking at out there. And you see, again, I don't know how much context other people have versus the context I have. But I remember always seeing pictures of aliens. Here, I'll show you one. Like the Galactic Federation. I'll show you an example. Let me see if I can find an example that I'm thinking of. Yeah, like pictures like this. Right? Like this kind of stuff. I mean, this is silly looking, obviously, but... Oh, look, it's evil, apparently. They backstabbed starseeds. This kind of picture of aliens that are like these blonde-haired, blue-eyed... There's not really much here. Yeah, like this. Like, see where it says, like, the Pleiadian one right here? On the right there, on the top left corner of that grid. I don't know about all these other ones, but I would always see pictures like that. See, like here's one with Trump, and it's like the blonde-haired one, right? And when I was reading the Closer Encounters by Giorgiani last night, he's like putting all of the pieces together that you might have heard kind of randomly, but it's like when you've read all the books, you get a different picture than when you just have all the kind of random shit that you've just seen and kind of subconsciously been exposed to. And so his whole theory is that there's essentially like two types of aliens that show up. There's more than two, but the basic two that are like really strong recurring themes in a lot of the UFO reports, like contactees and stuff, is they'll either be, generally speaking, they'll either be like the gray aliens that look like the typical like weird ass, bald, let me see, like gray alien, like that kind of thing that you're used to seeing, right? And then there's that other type, which is like the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white, it's called like Nordic phenotype. And his whole, what the hell happened? Oh, his whole thing is that from what he's pieced together from all the different stories is that the Nordic types created the gray ones, and the gray ones are like these sort of almost like organic robots that they've created to go do like the dirty work, and then they can always take the blame for being like the negative ones. And so the white ones, the like Nordic type looking ones, they're really like the ones in control of this situation in reference to the grays and the whites. And sometimes they call them the tall whites, I think. And that really they're one and the same. The gray ones work for the tall white ones. And typically we associate those gray aliens as like the weird nefarious ones zapping up people, mutilating cattle. Like he was going through all of the cattle mutilation stories, and it's actually crazy. Because like, okay, basically, I just realized my basic understanding or exposure to UFOs and paranormals was X-Files. And my dad really liked X-Files when I was growing up. So like in high school, I remember there was a period of about a year or so where at night my dad and I would watch. He had like all the X-Files like DVDs, like all the series, and we would watch them like starting at the very beginning, and so like it builds a story over time. And so they do all these different like episodes on different paranormal phenomena. And so that was my only exposure to it. Really, was just like, oh, it's like some kooky idea out there, cattle mutilations. Ooh, weird. But when I was reading the book, he was showing all these examples where there was one period, and I don't remember the time, maybe in the 50s, 60s, 70s, I'm not sure, where it was getting so bad in like, I'm making it up, but like Montana or Colorado or somewhere like that. It was getting so bad where like they were finding cattle mutilated, where in some cases their organs would be removed surgically, like in a way where there would be no blood loss. I mean, really graphic stuff. And it was like this surgical level of precision that wasn't even available back then. Like, and it was like in the middle of a field and there's no blood anywhere. Or they would like the cows would be found like in a tree or something, or they'd be dropped off. They never saw them dropped off necessarily, but they'd find the cattle 20 miles away in a pen where there's no way the cow could have gotten in there, and it was dead and mutilated. And so, and there was stories of this happening to people as well, like in South America. And in other words, it's like I'd heard the rumor of the cattle mutilations, but just through like X-Files. So it just sounded like a crazy story. But, the point about this particular story, though, with like where Colorado or whatever, it got so bad that like the governor of the state created like a task force to go figure out what the hell was going on, because the cattle ranchers were complaining about it. That's how bad it was. And they tried to get the FBI involved because it was happening in multiple states, but the FBI wouldn't, because there was no evidence that anything was happening like across state lines. There was no proof that somebody was doing it and then going across state lines, so that it would be like an FBI sort of, in their purview or whatever. But my point is, it's not just a random thing that some kooky person randomly claimed one time. There's like a lot of evidence of it, which doesn't prove it's aliens. I'm not saying that it proves that, but that these phenomena, whatever they are not just some random little, crazy person that just made up a story. It like definitely got the attention of like the governor of the state and things like that. And you can go through all these different examples. And he was talking about, dude, I'm not gonna be able to look it up because I can't remember the name. He was talking about somebody who was basically the personal assistant of the Duchess of Edinburgh, I think, who later became the Queen Elizabeth II. She was like her personal assistant. And he had like a title and everything. And then when she became queen, then he became the personal assistant of the Duke of Edinburgh, which I'm assuming is Prince Andrew, I think. And then eventually he became like the commander of the Royal Air Force, like their nuclear armament division or something. And my point of saying all that background is he talks about having this experience where he was contacted by these people who he suspects were extraterrestrial or something. So these aren't just like random kooks like out randomly somewhere. They're people in high level positions. Like we spoke the other night about that guy who was the president of that Russian Federation. I forget his name now. Which again doesn't prove anything, but it's not just the kind of, there's a lot more to it than I realized from the perspective of just the random things I had heard out there, right? Okay, so I got a little off track on the context. So going back to the Giorgiani stuff, he made this point because his whole theory is that the white aliens and the grays, they kind of work together. They're doing some kind of human experimentation. I haven't got so far that he explains any of that. He was just kind of introducing the point. But he was making this point of, if there's a disclosure that happens, he suspects that it'll be done in a way that all the blame is put on the gray aliens, and that the tall white ones, the Nordic ones, will be seen as like the savior ones. Like, oh, we're here to help you get these bad ones away or something, right? And I was thinking of this funny thing, which will make sense after I play this clip from Daryl Anka, but because he makes this point about the entity he's in contact with. he's going to give more context, but basically they want to help humans because we're so tribal and we fight all the time, and we live in a realm of polarity, and we haven't figured out how to just work together. And so, okay, so these aliens are going to come help us, right? But then I'm imagining like the aliens are talking shit about each other, like, oh no, but don't talk to those aliens. Those, you can't trust those guys. I'm like, okay, so y'all haven't figured it out either. Like, that's what it seems like to me. And they have all these problems apparently. But I'm gonna find the part of the clip where he talks about it because it's really fascinating. So that's where he talks about his UAP encounters, and then open contact. So he talks about Bashar. Let me see. Actually, let me look at the transcript. I got to make sure to play their ad for electrolytes too, because that's really good. Got to get your electrolytes. I was thinking it's the aliens are like wanting to make sure humans get all their electrolytes for some reason. Let me see. That's where he talks about the UFOs. Channeling, teaching channeling. Okay, that's where he talks about the woman. Okay, that's where he talks about developing his speaking circuit. What happens when Daryl channels? Okay, that was not very interesting. Okay, yeah, I'll just start it right there then.
Who is Bashar? Meaning, is he one of many? Is he the one?
No. Well, again, this is the way he presents himself. He's an extraterrestrial physical entity. This is a.
Oh yeah, that was the other interesting thing about it. He keeps saying like, you know, I don't even know if this thing is real. Like, I'm just channeling the information, and this is what the thing is telling me it is, but there's no way I can know. He's like, maybe it's not even real. I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting that he would admit that.
The telepathic connection. He is a member of a civilization. He is helping us move forward like many other extraterrestrials theoretically are.
Where does he live? Like, do we know?
Yes, he says where his planet is and where his solar system is, but it's in a parallel reality. So
That's hard.
I know. So he's saying if you want to overlap his universe with our universe, his solar system would be in about 500 light years in the direction of the Orion constellation, but you can't see it unless you shift into his universe. But he can't see ours unless he shifts into our universe.
What's happening in that parallel universe?
Well, what isn't happening? I mean, what's happening in our universe? There's so many things.
Meaning,
Are there supermarkets?
On his planet, no.
It's my, like anthropomorphic obsession.
She's like, is there a Whole Foods? Do they have electrolytes? Do they get electrolytes? I want to make sure they get lots of electrolytes. Okay, sorry.
That he has to be like a creature, like he could be an entity that is communicating in a way that doesn't even have a physical manifestation.
But it doesn't require a physical
Correct.
manifestation, but he does have a physical manifestation.
What does he look like?
He's a hybrid being. And if you know anything about alien abduction,
A little bit.
you know what the grays look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
50-50 between us and a gray. Hybrid. So
50-50 between a gray and this guy? Because I'm feeling that's more like 80-20.
5 feet tall on average, relatively slender, skin about this white, eyes larger than ours, ears, nose, mouth smaller than ours,
Oh, that's convenient. Bashar sent a selfie to him.
head a little larger. Males don't have hair, females do, tends to be white, very slender. Typical hybrid extraterrestrial.
Typical hybrid extraterrestrial is not something I ever
know.
thought we'd be talking about.
Yes.
Typical hybrid extraterrestrial.
Who does she remind you of, Katie?
And is he helping as a hobby? Is it
No.
part of his job?
He's a first contact specialist.
And is there like a genius bar for first contact specialists? Is there like a whole organization and they're all helping in different ways?
Yes, it is a calling in his society, along with social engineers, planetary engineers, all sorts of different kinds of things.
like how her show is called Maya Bialik's Breakdown. Like we're watching her have a breakdown in real time from megastar, from Blossom and Big Bang Theory to totally psychotic alien abductee fascination.
Maya Bialik's Breakdown is
Don't forget. Is that why they said Genius Bar earlier? That's a little weird.
They're packed with clean, delicious ingredients that keep you physically and mentally fit.
This is so ridiculous, dude. And they have plenty of electrolytes. So don't forget to get your electrolytes before your next abduction.
I will not eat it. I'll save it for you. Throw in your bag. Right now, IQ bars are packed plus free shipping to $64,000.
that's Breakdown.
But how many electrolytes?
What is required for me to have access to believing?
I can't in any way, shape, or form imagine anything that would make you believe. It would simply be your choice to say, there is a usable amount of information here that's down to earth and practical and actually can create a physical effect in my life. And that's all that's important for you to get a hold of right now. Because if in fact we are going to have open contact within a couple of years, well,
See, this is the part right here that made me interested in this, right? Because it's bringing it back to the fact that it looks like from the government or something, they're going to start talking more openly about UFOs, aliens, who knows?
well, then you'll have all the proof of extraterrestrials that you need, which I do believe is about to happen. So
When you started channeling, did you also believe that was imminent, or has this evolved?
this has evolved.
Got it.
This has evolved. He originally said there was a particular window in which open contact was going to happen, which I think originally many years ago was somewhere between 2020 and 2033. And over the years, he has been narrowing it down as we have been doing things like discussing disclosure and all that. So he is now saying, and actually he's not the only person saying, other psychic mediums have also corroborated this, that probably in 2027 we will be introduced literally to extraterrestrials.
So you heard it here first, or second, or third. 2027, guys. That's when we're going to be introduced to the idea of possibly considering perhaps there might be an intelligence out there.
By an official.
Kaushi just said U.S. is releasing. Yeah, I know, but they've been. All these people have been saying this for the past like week or so online. There's a lot of background to that. It's been going on as a process. The Congress, Representative Luna was pushing the point, and then they're ordering. I guess Trump decided to do it, so he had to instruct the Pentagon to do it, but they're kind of slow walking it and preparing everything. I think it's going to be similar to the Epstein files. We're going to get a lot of shit that's like, okay, and people are going to speculate and draw these conclusions. You're going to hear all this stuff, and it's not going to be anything that's clear. I mean, that's just my opinion of what's probably going to happen. But yes, like Trump even has confirmed multiple times recently that they are releasing all that information, or whatever it is. He said all the stuff they can release, whatever the fuck that means.
Report.
I
of
really
some
want that to
sort.
happen. But the main reason I want it to happen is that so people stop saying that it's not real. Like we can stop fighting about it.
Yeah. Well,
They're still going to say it's not real.
disclosure that's happening is one of the steps. Starting to take it seriously.
I mean, there's still so much resistance to it.
Of course, and there probably will be even after open contact, because people will be in denial, or they won't want it to be real.
They'll
or
claim it's AI.
They'll claim it's fake, whatever. He's not saying everyone's going to go, okay, we're all, kumbaya. No, it's going to take a couple of decades for humanity to get used to the idea, but he's saying, but it has to happen soon.
But isn't it interesting though? It's right around the time where we're developing AI. Not that not regardless of the whole it's fake, not real, whatever. The fact that we're developing a non-human intelligence, and then they're also now starting to warm up the public to accept that there are non-human intelligences while they're literally creating one. And it's like everything's kind of like converging on this point. I feel like the singularity is not actually a technological event. I think it's more like a mental psychosis event, like the singularity of everybody's minds just going into a black hole where like you can't predict how people are going to react or experience themselves or, you know, their stability.
Because you have to have the time before humanity's reset period to absorb all of this at your own pace.
The gray reset.
In the way that you want to. We're not going to force it on you.
First contact specialist, are they there as like a nonprofit? I'm wondering if they have a vested interest in...
He's like, do they have a 501c status?
Earth being successful in
Yes.
some kind of way?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, like I said, they're a hybrid race, which means they're genetically connected to us.
Oh, now you know why I was thinking about hybrid shit earlier. I guess that's why it popped in my mind. Or it could have been Bashar. I was on the phone with someone earlier, and I was telling him the way I do these live streams is I channel an entity. It's sort of like an unconscious, subconscious process, but it's a really weird coincidence because the entity's name also is Cameron.
So they consider us to be family. In a sense, they consider us to be like ancestors.
They've been around longer than we have,
Much.
like millions of years.
Not their society specifically, but other ETs, yes. Since they are a hybrid race created through a hybridization process, through a genetic process.
Yeah, okay, see, so the entity known as Cameron thought of all this beforehand, and that's why I suggested to myself that I should talk about the pig-human hybrid shit, because when I heard the term, oh, they're hybrids, like, doesn't your mind immediately go, that sounds weird, you know, like, oh, they're hybrids, what are you talking about? But I was wanting to show you an example of, like, even now, right now, we're experimenting with hybridizing animals and humans. So the idea he's talking about isn't actually that crazy. And look, they're even having some kind of success with it so far. So it's not really that crazy of an idea. That doesn't mean what he's talking about is real. It's just the idea itself. When you hear it and your mind goes, well, this is just crazy talk, it's total nonsense. Well, actually, it's not completely. Like, you know, whether you believe there actually is an entity that he's talking about or not is not the point. It's just the ideas behind it. The fact that, oh, you think that he's like some kind of a hybrid or something. Like, what does that even mean? It's like, well, it means that they use DNA from one species and another species to try to create something else that has characteristics of both, like they're doing right here in China right now.
They are, in a sense, relative to the galaxy, a relatively new race. But in their reality, in their parallel reality, in relation to them, we would consider them to be about 3,000 years ahead of us in advance. They're trying to help us avoid some of the pitfalls that the species that created them went through. Because his story of what the Greys are is that they used to be a parallel reality version of Earth. They used to be human. They destroyed their world. They had to mutate to survive into what we now see as the Greys. They lost the ability to reproduce. They had to shift into other parallel realities where human DNA was still viable, like ours, and use that to create hybrids to perpetuate their culture.
Has this come to you
that-
in bits
Is that why they be abducting people?
and pieces over the years? Was this an early...
No, he did lay this out a few years ago, but more and more detail has been coming out over the years about why this is happening, how it's happening, and why they're helping us. They're noticing we're making the same mistakes, and they don't want us to have to make the same mistakes and do the same thing that turned their reality into the Greys.
Humans are trying to figure out right now how to coexist on a...
Is it just me, or is every time this guy talk, I think he's reading an ad? Like, I swear, every time they switch to him, I think it's an ad that's, like, running. Like, they're having this conversation, and it's like he's got, like, this ad voice.
Into the Greys.
Humans are trying to figure out right now how to coexist on a planet that has...
Doesn't it sound like he's doing an ad read? Like he's about to start talking about electrolytes.
shared resources, and we cannot for the life of us work collectively as a species.
Right.
Big problem when the survival of the species requires global cooperation.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons I think we're about to have open contact. I'm going to put this in this language. It's about time for the adults to step in and say, that's enough. You're messing up the planet. It's very.
Are the adults the ones that destroyed their previous thing and have been hybridizing and mutating themselves with human DNA without our consent or awareness? And is that the adults? The adults, guys. It's time for the adults to step in.
Important that you don't.
Is our technological progress, specifically with the development of AI, the beginning of the hybridization process?
It's one level of what we will merge with in the future, but it's not the beginning. The hybridization process has been going on for thousands of years.
So when people say they're abducted by aliens because they're taking their DNA,
That's
might be.
why.
Oh.
That's why.
They need the human DNA.
I love her. I love her character. It's so funny. She's like, oh,
They're taking their DNA.
That's
might be.
why.
Oh.
That's why.
They need the human DNA to go back to help them propagate the species that has basically been
Yes.
unable to advance because of the mutations and degradation of their.
Yes. And therefore the hybrids are now helping us to avoid the same fate.
We spoke to Robin Hanson. We speak to many people who think about contact in very different forms. And his perspective with the zoo hypothesis that aliens are monitoring the progression of Earth, potentially because it is safer for us not to leave the planet because it will create a intergalactic upset if we're launching ourselves off into the galaxy. What do you say about
I'd
that?
say there's a little bit of truth to that, but I don't think there's actually much that we could do other than they will not allow us to have a global thermonuclear war. I think they've demonstrated that very clearly on several occasions when UFOs have hovered over missile silos and scrambled the launch codes. And that's
well, yeah. He says he's just normalizing all this. Totally. I thought I had said the point. Maybe I skipped it, but did you guys hear the point where he said he was telling him this stuff a few years ago? Not that it really matters, but like almost like just now, that's the message that's coming through over the past few years. That this was a big deal in certain circles in 2021. That's when the government released their UAP report. And again, that book, Closer Encounters, is really good because it just shows you a lot of the background that you're probably not aware of that's going on. And in 2021 and around that time, there was a government report about all the UAP stuff. And dude, like, it's kind of wild. There was like hundreds and hundreds of reports around that time from the Navy with like them seeing craft coming out of the water and zooming around and them sending planes, jet fighters with no weapons on them to go monitor them. And like, you know, they have gun cameras on these fighter jets, and they would use their gun cameras and like take video of the objects, and they'd see them on the radar and everything. And then they even adjusted the policy in the military to destigmatize anybody reporting that stuff, because there was something called Project Blue Book, I think, in like 70s, 80s, something like that. And then they basically, it was when they were kind of studying, the government was studying UFO stuff. And then they kind of just closed it up and they said, there's nothing to see here. It's not a threat or anything like that. And they kind of just pushed it all under the rug. And then it became sort of like, if you talk about anything that you see like that, you're crazy. They don't encourage it. But now they shifted their policy recently over the past like 5-6 years to encourage military members to report the stuff that they were seeing. Because like suddenly there was like a shift in the culture within the government of, no, we want to know about this stuff. We want to report. We want to compile that information. So it's really weird. And then again, I always keep coming back to it. This summer, we've got that movie Disclosure Day coming out. Why is that? I'm kind of curious actually to look into that a little bit more. Oh, also, you guys remember that video I played the other day with the AI thing and the guy talking to that AI, and it was like, what the hell is this? And then it kind of seemed like at the end it's just promoting a movie. So I was like, is this fake? is it like, what is this? And the thing that was so off about it was the guy's reaction to it. It's like he's saying he's doing all this research and he's got like, you know, he went to MIT or Stanford or whatever, and he's like talking to these things, and when they're like potato, he's like, yo, what the fuck, bro? Yo, this is crazy. And I'm like, is it that crazy? Like, it's just like, I am. And he's like, yo, like, what is, this is nuts. And I was like, I don't know. It just seemed very like dramatized. Like he was like playing into it. So then I was like, is this just an art piece? Like, is this just a promotion for like a documentary because he wants to raise awareness about an issue? But it seems like to make something fake like that would kind of be shooting yourself in the foot, to like literally make like a fake dramatized thing to promote a movie to get people to take the idea seriously. Seems kind of counterproductive. So I don't know if the guy is just emotional about it or what. But anyways, I thought that was weird. But the reason I was bringing it up, because when we were watching it, okay, this is the trailer for the movie. But look, when we found it the other day, I think I found it the day it came out, just randomly on my algorithm. It had 200 views. Now it's already got 21,000, right? Which is not crazy, but I mean, look how fast that shot up from the 200 views when we were watching it to 21,000. So there's definitely some kind of promotion thing going on there. I don't know. It's weird. But what was the point I was looking at? I wanted to look at this disclosure thing. I want to know more about, like, look, April 2024. Who's this guy? He's written a lot of screenplays. Jurassic Park, a more recent Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible. That doesn't really tell me anything there. What I'm curious about is, like, I mean, of course, there's no way I'm ever going to find it out just by looking on here. But yeah, look, John Williams. I mean, that means this is supposed to be a big movie. It's Steven Spielberg, John Williams soundtrack. This is not just some little thing. But what I'm curious about, let's see what here it says. April 2024 was announced that Spielberg's next directing project would be a UFO film based on his own original idea. See also The Age of Disclosure, a 2025 documentary. Lou Elizondo, he's one of the big, like, yeah, UFO guy, former DOD guy. It was released on Amazon Prime. Hal Puthoff, remember he was that CIA researcher guy. I don't know. There's just something weird about it. Because you have to wonder, like, where does he get these ideas from? Why did he decide to do it? I mean, this isn't going to tell us anything, but... I don't want to see that. That's it. Save it to my calendar. Oh, I don't want to do that. Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. We finished shooting about 3 weeks ago. Okay, let's see what it says here. Let's see what he says.
With the new Steven Spielberg untitled film, which you've also done.
Yes.
Does that have a title now?
Not that we're talking about.
Sorry, I didn't hear
not,
you.
not that they've released.
Oh, okay.
So, unfortunately, there's very little I can say about it, except that we finished shooting about 3 weeks ago. I think it looks fantastic, and it comes out next June.
Okay. I keep being told, think of E.T. think of all the sort of, Spielberg space movies?
You could, if you want. I say anything, I get killed. So you can say whatever you want.
What should I be thinking of when I think of this untitled Spielberg film?
Honestly, what he does so brilliantly is he combines a vast spectacle with really honest human emotion. Unlike, I think, any other director. It's a very emotional experience, this movie.
Very emotional experience. Yeah, there's very little I can disclose. Comments. Okay, let's go look at Daryl Anka's sci-fi. What? Best sci-fi book. Where is it? Best. Is that just an ad for his thing? Oh, these are his sci-fi books. Okay. Follow the adventures of Willa Hillikrissing, a human-alien hybrid 700 years in the future. Where does he get these ideas from? She learns the 5 levels of mastery to develop abilities that will help her defeat a ravenous alien empire before it subjugates Earth and the Interstellar Alliance. Where does he come up with these ideas? Shards of a shattered mirror. Sasquatch. Do you guys know that where I live is the Sasquatch capital of the world? Even though apparently it inhabits the Pacific Northwest. What? I don't understand that. He's supposed to be in Oregon. I guess he comes down here for the B&Bs during the high travel season. Maybe just for the conference. There's like a Bigfoot conference here every year where I live. And there's a big giant Bigfoot statue in town by like the boat ramp over by the bayou. So we always go talk to it. We call him Big Butt because he's got a really big butt. This one I never really got into. I just think it's so weird. Such a weird thing. Oh. It's probably just a bear that people are seeing. Could be escaped apes. Humans have also been mistaken for Bigfoot. In 2013, a 20-year-old man in Oklahoma was arrested after he told law enforcement he accidentally shot his friend in the back while their group was allegedly hunting for Bigfoot. In 2017, a shamanist wearing clothing made of animal furs was vacationing in a North Carolina forest when local reports of alleged Bigfoot sightings flooded in. The police department issued a public notice not to shoot Bigfoot for fear of mistakenly injuring or killing someone. In 2018, a person was shot at multiple times by a hunter who claimed he mistook him for Bigfoot. Why is your first... when you see Bigfoot, you just start shooting him. Oh, look. The Wild Man of the Navidad tells of a wild ape man who roamed the wilderness of eastern Texas in the mid-19th century. Maybe that's where the... Although I don't know where Lavaca County is. It's not really that close to me. Expert consensus is that allegations of the existence of Bigfoot are not credible. I don't know. The Bigfoot thing just doesn't really interest me I don't know why. It just seems kind of... It's also crossed over with other paranormal claims, including that Bigfoot, extraterrestrials and UFOs are related, or that Bigfoot are psychic, can shapeshift, are able to cross into different dimensions, or are completely supernatural in origin. That's what I want to know about. What's the paranormal connection? Tara talks to Bigfoot. Okay, we got a psychic medium talking to Bigfoot.
What they've told me is that there are others, and they're like people. They tried to explain it. They showed me in a way like with people, there's bad ones and there's good ones. It's the same for them. There's bad ones. They come from the same place, but there are bad ones and there are good ones.
Okay.
My name's Tara, and I am a mother. And when I realized that I could communicate with the dead, I started doing psychic work and helping other people communicate with loved ones, and also crossing spirits over. And then this last year, I saw a Bigfoot. And when I saw him, the first time I saw him with my eyes, and then I've seen him in my head a few times. And I can communicate with him quite regularly up here. I grew up in the woods up here, and my grandfather was a logger. He spent a lot of time up here, and when he passed away, he's one of the first people who came to us to help us, and he helps us on a regular basis do clearings. We help ghosts cross over to the other side, and we also communicate with people that are on the other side and do readings for people that have lost their loved ones. But when Grandpa passed away, he told us to come up and go to the mountains and do there's a sacred spot up here that we can work, and it's different than any other spot. There's several of them in the world, but you have to have that one spot. It keeps the bad energy out so you can focus on the good energy. So he basically just told us which way to drive, and we just followed. We just went in the direction he said, and we stopped where he told us to stop and found the spot that we were supposed to work in. And so we've been doing that for a few years, and that's when we were working up here, just doing a regular thing, when we saw Bigfoot. We were up here doing a clearing one day, and we heard a noise, and we looked over, and it wasn't like 20 feet away, and he was standing there. And he's just standing there staring at us, and it scared us because we didn't know there were any here, and we'd never seen one or never even thought they existed, whether they did or they didn't. So it was kind of scary at first, but then we realized that he's just looking at us. He isn't being aggressive. He's not throwing things at us or anything. So we kind of looked at him, then we talked about it. So we looked at each other, and we looked back, he was gone. Didn't make a noise, nothing. And so we're like, well, crap, they exist. So that was kind of scary, but at the same time really cool because we actually saw him. So after that, we come up about once a week, and we came up, and we were sitting there, and we started hearing knocking sounds. And it would knock, it would start to the right and knock, and then there'd be another one, it'd go all the way around us, but really quick. So we're wondering who's doing it, and how is it going so quickly around us? And so we asked the other side, because we communicate with the other side, and they told us that it's actually not Bigfoot that's doing it. There's another creature that lives in the same dimension. They do the knocking to take attention away. And so they can pop in and out of dimensions just like Bigfoot can, to kind of scare you or, make you look a certain place, kind of draw your attention. And they were just showing us what they do. It wasn't to scare us or run us out. They were just kind of showing us how what the knocking is. So then after that, we saw them a couple more times, and I can see him in my head, and I saw him and his family, a little one and a medium one and a adult female. And they come to this area. The other side told us they come to this area from their dimension because they like it here. And then they showed me what their dimension looks like, and it's very similar to ours, but they have some differences. The trees are different. There's also a stone that he actually gave me, and there's this stone that they have there in big pillars, and it's like a crystal-looking stone, and that they use that somehow for energy in their dimension. And so we've seen, he actually left a piece of that for me, and in the shape of his foot, actually, which is kind of cool. And I had brought my daughters up one time, and she didn't know anything about it. We hadn't talked about them with her, and she saw them too. And she gave the exact description. The little kid, the medium one, and the female and the male. And she saw them up in the trees behind where we had seen them. When we first saw Bigfoot, the other side told us they prefer to be called Aeolin. And it's the name that they prefer to be called, and also where they come from. It's the same name. And they actually don't like to be called Bigfoot. It's like a derogatory term to them. So
They don't like to be called Bigfoot, but he gave you a crystal rock in the shape of his giant foot. He's like, please don't call me Bigfoot, but here, I'd like you to remember me by this. She's like, is this a big foot? He's like, no, don't call it that. Seems kind of weird. She has a thing for Bigfoot. I like Keith's comments. It's the same, but they don't have electrolytes. This is like so wild. Time Traveler 1980s Paranoid Schizophrenic interview.
I was out riding in my car with two other people going down this hill when all of a sudden it turned over. And I was arrested, of course, for that, you know. And they were going to turn me loose, except that they called in and said the Army had AWOL out on me, which is a lie, of course. But they arrested me there and took me here under escort.
Why do you think they brought you to a psychiatric hospital?
Orders from somewhere else, I would assume.
Did you do anything that they might have misinterpreted as being, you know, something that you should have been brought to a psychiatric hospital?
Well, mostly fear is why they didn't want to hang on to me too long.
What were they afraid of?
Well, I'm a known killer, where they come from, so
What do you mean?
it's a pretty touchy thing being around me if you're on the wrong side. They don't relish having a hold of me unless I'm inside of a cage or something.
What do you mean that you're a known killer?
I have killed
How many people have you killed?
several hundreds.
Where did you kill them?
Chicago, Detroit, New York, Mississippi Gulf, California, Texas.
Why did you kill them?
Because they were in the act of violent crimes.
Like what?
Like murder, rape, brutal beatings, extortion, illicit drug trafficking.
Jaywalking.
Did you kill them?
Yes.
To prevent them from doing that, or what?
Well, when it got back to their leaders, it did stop quite a few illegal events from happening.
What do you mean by their leaders?
Their highest in command.
Are you talking about the mafia or what?
Yes, indeed. Mafiosi, Cosa Nostra. They used to be the same, but they're no longer. They divided up in this nation, and a few from other nations that were stepping on illegal grounds for information gathering purposes.
What made you decide to take it into your own hands to do that?
I was the highest ranking official at the time.
Highest ranking official in what?
In intelligence.
Oh, so you work in intelligence?
Yes.
What were you doing when you were in the car that crashed?
I was enjoying myself by self-medicating myself with hashish.
And you were an intelligence officer then?
Yes.
And they didn't mind that you were taking drugs?
You don't seem to understand. They're not drugs, they're curative procedures for top international agents, which is what they use. Hashish and marijuana.
What do they cure you of?
What do they cure us of? Malaise, pedentry. Primarily, pedentry is the main thing they cure. The thing they work the best on is ease of mind, less worry.
What does he mean by pedantry? Does he mean pedantry? That can't be what he means. Is there another word I'm not aware of? Pedantry? No. Okay.
The best on is ease of mind, less worry, relaxing.
Okay.
Which when there is that much of a schedule before you, it's difficult to do without aid from some substance or another.
What do you mean, pedantry? Is that something you can see?
Economic pedantry.
I'm not familiar with that word at all.
Economic pedantry, that's severe pedantry.
What is pedantry?
Pedantry is pain, exertion, anxiety with no loving care, you know? And the best cure for that is rest, relaxation, and marijuana.
And hashish.
And hashish. And woman. Woman used to be the only known cure for pedantry and in some cases severe pedantry. But hashish is really the main cure or the main stepping stone. But to remove the things that bring pedantry on the next time, those moods have to be satisfied along with the cure.
What kinds of things did you do in intelligence besides killing people?
Tracking, coding, filing.
Okay. Do the people in intelligence know that you're here?
Beg your pardon?
Do the people in intelligence, your superiors, know that...
They certainly do, yes.
Why haven't they...
That was a reply from them right then. That is a correct and yes, ma'am, if you wish, then that is what you may do.
Oh, you can hear them?
No. I can read the comp prints.
Where?
Yes, sir, we do believe she was just about ready to come to that realization, but she's not so certain herself, and that we said in another second that she would appear to prove that. That was in that 1/8 verse there.
First of all, is this real? Or is this like an act? He seems more mentally stable than a Starbucks barista. This reminds me of trying to make small talk at a party. I thought this guy was very compassionate with this poor female schizophrenic. Oh yeah, wouldn't that be funny if she was a schizophrenic? This guy seems to have it together more than half the people I work with. Filing, coding, tracking, and killing. No phones, just people having fun together. Clearly she's delusional. I hope she gets the help she needs. I love this guy. He's figured out the whole system. I was just trying to see, like, because I've seen things in the past where they will simulate somebody with a certain disorder, and it's like a demonstration where you have a therapist and then like someone who's just simulating it, but I don't know. I can't really see anything it just seems so performative.
What can you see? Things coming from my head, or...
No. I can read the code levels in the comp.
Print? What is a comp print? Some kind of computer printout or something?
Those particular lights that they're not necessarily a code printout, but they're human-based.
So you get them from lights. Where do you see them?
Beg your pardon?
Where do you see the comp prints?
Behind me. In front of me.
Just out in the air?
They're like switches in mood. Yeah, yes, but you must be able to read.
I swear that the character Dennis from Always Sunny is based on this guy. Oh, hello, moth. I was trying to catch him. A little moth came to visit. But like the mannerisms and everything, this is Dennis from Always Sunny.
And decipher them. I've been trained all my life to read them. I am the best. I am the highest IQ'd. I am the best reader and the best leader in the comp forces.
What does the comp stand for?
Comp? Compliance. Yes, when it's broken down into absolute basics, but it's an intelligence word. And a comp base is where men work together to decide to what extent we're going to have to go, to certain areas.
How did the intelligence people...
And that's 1990 comp print right there.
1990? What do you mean?
Yes, that's where I just came from. They were able to trace and decipher my route from there 3 times.
We're in 83. 1983, right?
That's 83 print there, and that's 84.
So you know the future?
And that's 90.
You've been in the future.
Yes, and in the past. That's where I just came from, not more than 2.
Well, everybody's been in the past. Come on, man. Yeah, it kind of looks like Dennis, exactly. My non-skeptical mind is like, I mean, how would you know if he isn't really time traveling with the comp base? How would you know? You wouldn't know. You can say, well, that doesn't fit into my normal. I mean, I'm not saying I think he might just be schizophrenic. But at the same time, how could you know for sure? And then this lady will probably go to church on Sundays and be like, well, I know Jesus is real. Okay.
2 weeks ago.
Why did they transport you back to the past?
Because that part of Armageddon was reaching a certain particular point. We were no longer needed. We have to go to the past.
So, what did you do in the past? What was your mission in the past?
Tracking, filing, coding.
Run supplies, detect enemy agents, aid those who are wounded and in need of help, and mainly clear our comps in the past. There are certain messages spelled out through the universe.
And what are you going to do next? What's in the future?
Well, after I crawl off the cross, it's going to be pretty final,
You're going to go on a cross?
Yes.
How's that?
I'm headed for the first John the Baptist.
What do you mean?
The one who died on the cross beside Jesus. Only he didn't die there.
You are that same person?
I am the same person.
Or are you going to do that again?
I'm going to do that for the first time. I haven't got there yet.
Oh, you're going to go back in time, back to the past. What's the purpose of that?
The purpose of that? Well, it has a number of different purposes. But other than a tribute to those who are living and guaranteed to their lives, because infiltration among the normal people was heavy for a while. And there are proofs that we are going to extend to change it, and that we are suffering as they are. So just bear with it and bear your torment, and if you can, help someone. This is what it means from our side. And we're also telling the bad, which is like they're newly created, such as all of the demons and devils and everything, which is that they are proof that they are not the only ones that are doing this, and to stay away except in certain circumstances.
Are you a very religious
Notice he didn't mention the goblins, though, I think, or the raccoons.
person?
I am a Lord God Jehovah.
Oh.
You are God.
Yes, I am. I'm the head of my entire race.
Have you been having any trouble sleeping lately?
No.
Have you had any trouble getting to sleep or with waking up very early?
That is where it is, waking up early.
You wake up early.
Yes.
How early?
incredibly early. Oakdale was about the worst thing there was.
What was Oakdale?
Oakdale was where I underwent torture and becking procedures for a long time.
What kind of procedures? I'm sorry.
Becking. That's when, like, your brain and your body reach a certain extent, you know. That mind sort of rebels with a colorful display of lighting, which is sometimes red, sometimes light gray, sometimes light blue, and particularly white. That's known as beck. And when a god gets so much pressure on him, then he becks, which fills the entire body, which doesn't do much for the pedentry.
Is pedentry somehow associated with your hands?
Well, I can feel it. Here. See? That's pedentry, that's shaking. It's shooken up a bit now, which is how they've tried to cure it, which is dispersing it as much as possible throughout my body, which means it needs to be fed immediately.
Do you ever have the feeling that all of a sudden some alien forces
I don't think the lady's realizing the guy's asking for a hash break. All right. I mean, lady, come on. Give him a hash break.
withdraw all the thoughts from your head?
That has occurred once or twice, yes.
Who? Is that the enemy again that does that?
It certainly is.
How do you explain that they're able to do that?
Because according to the laws, since they were created, which was deficient of a normal life expectancy, that they are permitted to attack the Lord God, whose fault it was in the first place, which is what gets them to hell in a hurry and to the other side where they are not involved anymore. In between that, fear and frustration, and until it comes to something like that, they don't even wait. They just sink a band, and it goes into the very center of my being and is encompassed where it is not speaking anymore.
And it comes back again later?
Yes. They know how to operate machinery as well as men.
Do you ever hear voices that other people can't hear?
Voices that other people
I
can't
mean,
hear.
who doesn't?
Seems that way, yes.
Do you hear them inside of your head, or do you hear them with your ears as if they were in the room? And what kinds of things do they say to you?
It's mostly in the mind that they speak.
What do they say?
I don't know, just torment you. Just that what I did caused such and such a disaster here, and that what I did caused such and such a disaster there.
Whose voices are they, do you think?
That's fascinating. Like, he's internalized all the guilt around everything, and he believes he's God, so now he feels like guilty about everything, and now he feels like he has to suffer.
Not sure.
Are they men's or women's voices?
Both. Men's, women's, and children. By the way, I hope you're through.
Why's that?
Because I'm getting tired of saying things that you already know.
But I don't already know these things.
I'd like to call a halt to this if possible and get back to it another day.
I just have a few more questions to ask you.
Couldn't we hold off on these for a while?
I don't know, man. I feel like that's not real. I feel like they are, like, staged. I don't know, maybe. Wait, what did that one say? Real psychic, okay. Yo, that's unnecessarily loud.
Experience that your thoughts could be picked up by other people.
Yes.
Just tell me about that, could you?
Well, I could, like I said, the name of a cousin of mine from Washington, D.C., Mildred, and my roommate also mentioned the same name just a few minutes later.
Could people pick up your thoughts at a distance at all?
I'm not sure if they could or not.
Did you have the impression that perhaps they were picking your thoughts up?
Yes.
Would that have been done with the transmitters in your teeth?
That's what I was thinking.
That's what you thought?
Yes.
Were they sort of beaming out your thoughts?
Yes.
And would other people need a transmitter or a receiver to pick them up, or could they just pick them up with their brains?
I would imagine they'd need some kind of mechanical device to pick it up.
Yes. So I like to make
It's
sure...
the doctor's planting things in his head. A psychopath. America's... Oh, that's a joke from Sam Hyde. Okay. Yeah, how is it different than Darryl Anka? Because, like, none of it's coherent. What is this?
Sister Hong's online dating profile was unsettling, but also effective. With her signature appearance involving white makeup, red lipstick, and sometimes a mask, thousands of men matched with her and they immediately went back to her apartment. But something wasn't right. Sister Hong had very strange rules, like forcing the guys to pay for her services with fruits, vegetables, and random items instead of money. For example, he paid with a watermelon, and this individual brought a half-empty container of cooking oil.
So
it
bad
was
about
also
that.
concerning that she forced them to keep the lights on during all of their intimate encounters. This man was confused and repeatedly tried to turn the lights off, but every time, Sister Hong would just go back over and switch them back on. Disturbingly, the men had no idea why she was doing this. Sister Hong needs that light to do the recording, bro. Without the guys knowing, she secretly recorded all of their private interactions on hidden cameras. And then afterward, she uploaded and sold their videos on the internet.
Ah.
Between the years 2022 and 2025, Sister Hong would go on to record her encounters with hundreds of men and charge viewers $20 a month to watch the content in private chats like Telegram. Her internet business would become so lucrative that she apparently got rich doing this and also benefited from hundreds of those gifted fruits, vegetables, and household items.
She was flush in watermelons and carrots. That's weird. I never heard about this before. Sister Hong. That's kind of random. Teenage acid head.
Do you like LSD?
Yes.
And why?
Well, because for one, it teaches me a lot about myself that I didn't know. And it kind of informs me about my environment and what goes on.
What does it tell you about yourself?
It tells me what I like.
What do you like?
Well...
LSD?
I can't really explain what I like.
It's hard to explain. You see, you've had an experience that I haven't had, and I'm trying to find out what your experience is like, what it does for you, what it feels like.
Well, it makes everything a little unreal, you know. Everything that is hallucinations project from my mind, and everything that I see is myself. I mean, it's all coming from my mind, and all the things that I see, everything that I see I'm making it all.
You're controlling everything.
Yes, I'm controlling what the scenery looks like about me. I'm not controlling it necessarily, but when it's happening, that's what's me. That's me happening.
How about people? Do you think that before you used the drug, you were afraid of people?
Well, I didn't know it at the time, but I realized that I was when I took the drug. Because it brings out your inner feelings more intensely.
And why do you think you were afraid of them before?
Because I didn't know them.
Do you feel that you do know them through the drug?
No, I don't feel that I know them, but I'm not afraid of being rejected by them. Because I don't feel any rejection towards them. I used to be constantly thinking about being afraid of them. But now I don't have to be afraid anymore because they're all beautiful, and whether they reject me or not, they're still beautiful.
Does it ever seem to you that this may be a little unreal?
Oh, yes. But I mean, after you learn this on an acid trip, you practice it when you're straight, too.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't leave you.
If everybody is beautiful, then there's no one who's, say, dangerous to you.
Oh, but the dangerous people are beautiful, too. They're dangerous, sure, but they're still beautiful.
Why are you here?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try to break it down in short. I found God, and I made me feel quite good, you know, and my mother mistook this good feeling for taking drugs, and I was getting kind of wayward and everything. I mean, I wasn't coming home on time.
It's actually kind of interesting because I'm just thinking about, like, I'm assuming this is probably like the 60s. It would have to be, right? 19, it doesn't say, but 67, yeah, obviously 60, that's when they created LSD. But like, you imagine the structure of society in the 50s and then going into the 60s, and then all these people taking LSD and then like totally being like, whoa, the fucking society we have is actually not exactly what I want, or it's weird and it's like very restrictive. And then suddenly all these people seeing things they hadn't seen before, realizing things they hadn't realized before. How you could see how disrupting that would be in society at that time. It must have been very weird to be alive at that time with all of that going on. And now it's just, we take a lot of that for granted, that people are questioning things or whatever, but back then it must have been very weird.
So she phoned the police, and I was brought to YGC, and then I was brought here. Because of my talking about God and everything, they might have thought that I was a little crazy.
Do you think you are?
No. But I understand how they felt because I wasn't making myself clear on it. It's very hard to... I was trying to express something that was hard to express, and I wasn't really capable of expressing it. I mean, I can have the relationship between myself and God, but it's a mistake to try to make other people feel the way I did, and that's what I was trying to do.
What's God like?
Well, first of all, God is everything, so he is like everything. He is everything. There's nothing that he isn't like.
Is he like a man?
I don't know. Everything, he lives in everything. Everything on this earth.
I can't describe to you the...
Why is that such a weird thing for someone to say? It's like something the mystics would have said, or like the saints would have said, and now it's like, but you can't be saying that. You took a drug, you're crazy. But that's like what we would then admire, the people that are in a position of, you know, that have been sanctioned by a particular religion or whatever. We would admire someone saying stuff like that in that position.
Feeling that it gives you when your son says to you, can't you feel it? God is everywhere. I'm going with God. I'm waiting for God to come and get me. It isn't a happy thing at all or an insight. It's a death wish. And I tried talking sense to him. I said, Jimmy, you don't see God till you die. But he couldn't.
Them's the rules, Jimmy. You gotta die first. And he's like, well, don't tell me that, Mom. I'm telling you I see him right now. She's like, no, you gotta die to see God, Jimmy. And he's like, but I really like God, Mom. And she's like, nope, you gotta wait till you die, Jimmy. I mean, you're gonna make him go crazy if you tell him shit like that. Why don't you just be like, cool, you see God everywhere and you think everything's actually beautiful. That's awesome, man. Good job, Jimmy.
See that at all. He believed that he was seeing him right now. Jim hasn't adjusted well to school. He's an extremely introverted boy, or has been up until lately. Shy. He wouldn't try. The least sign of failure to him meant an automatic stop right now. And I think that the problems that he had were magnified and triggered by the release that he seemed to find in drugs. And I feel as though that this is, many of the children today are doing this type of thing, and if it could be stressed that this is a medical problem and not...
It is interesting, though, because, yeah, exactly. Where did he get that from? Like, who the fuck wants to go to school, right? Now, fast forward to our world right now, where we're at now. And we're like, yeah, what did going to school get for you? Other than at that time, a job, a pension. What about now? Now everyone's fucked. The mental state while meditating, I would imagine so. Similar to taking drugs, and maybe not exactly the same, but a similar type thing.
Not a criminal problem. I believe that parents would be on the telephone calling somebody as soon as they found illegal material around the house, which they don't do now because they're afraid they're sending their sons and daughters to jail.
There is a steady flow into San Francisco hospitals of young people who have freaked out and been picked up by the police in a state of desperate terror.
Where are you taking me? Where are my friends? Do my friends know I'm here? Where am I? Where am I?
There's a really good Frank Zappa album called Freak Out. I think that's what it's called, isn't it? Yeah, Freak Out. Yeah, that's a really good album. A satirical expression of Zappa's perception of American pop culture and the nascent Los Angeles freak scene's freak out trend. Psychedelic freak out. Counterculture era. Used as a noun, drug culture freak out referred to a bad trip, though it was associated with the Los Angeles freak scene. Okay, what is the freak scene? I don't know about that. Freaks or freakers. His main Palakas? Where did I go? Vito Palakas established a clothing boutique, assembled an expanding group of associates who were referred to as freaks or freakers. His main partner would be Carl Franzoni, aka Captain Fuck. Captain Fuck. All right, Katie. I've already chosen the name of our next horse. He's gonna be Captain Fuck. Acid-drenched extended family of brain-damaged cohabitants. The freak out movement. The freak out movement. Oh, we already looked at that. There's a Zappa song where he's like, "Hungry Freaks Daddy." I think it's called Hungry Freaks Daddy, actually, is the name of the song. Health freak. Thing was the major abstract word in Haight-Ashbury. It can mean anything. Isms, lifestyles, habits, learnings, causes, sexual origins. Thing and freak. Freak referred to styles and obsessions, as in Stuart Brand is an Indian freak, or the Zodiac, that's her freak. Or just a heads in costume. It wasn't a negative word. And then they obviously used it in the context of freak out. Freak out music. Pat Morgan presents Freak Out. Light show Nirvana. Look, the mothers of invention. What? Look. There's Frank Zappa right there. That's funny. That's his band, the Mothers of Invention. Oh, there it is right there. Another freak out performance would be scheduled that was canceled according to Frank Zappa due to a critical acoustic problem and virtually non-existent PA. Wait, am I on the... Okay. Where'd it go? Zappa discussed his concept of freaking out, arguing that nonconformity alone was insufficient and that freaking out was becoming an excuse instead of a reason. He advocated for freaking out intellectually and that looking and acting eccentric is not enough. That's pretty cool. So he was just kind of like, all right, you guys aren't really freaking out. There's Captain Beefheart and Frank Zappa. Two giants of the 60s LA freak scene. That's interesting because it seemed like he was initially critical of it, but he was in that context. The Velvet Underground? Really? Other groups in the category. The Creation as freak out music. I don't know if I've heard of The Creation. Making psychotic reaction. They're gonna get you. What? Literally like programming people to be delusional. What was it called? Count 5. Psychotic reaction. I don't think I've heard this before. Maybe I have. I don't know. So he's just about having a psychotic reaction to a girl. Look at this comment. I'm 70 this year. No one who didn't experience the 60s and 70s the way we did can possibly get it. My sister protesting the war in college. My brother in Vietnam. And the rest of the family listening to great music and abiding. Through it all, there was hope, even in destruction. I wish I could say the same for today's world. So glad God put me on the earth when he did. Like, what? Is there a band called the UFOs? That would be cool. Was that on there? Or you just... That would actually be a really cool name for a band. You'll see something weird. This is probably from that same time period. Acid Mother's Temple. What is this? Oh, that's 2017 though. It's just drums. There's like 3 sets of drums. I'm not freaking out. That's all sort of like newer music though. Oh dude, there's this one guy. Okay, let me look him up first. Japanese guy, drum, weird. Yeah. Ryosuke Kiyasu. You'll love this. This is some serious freak out right here. Wait till you see this guy. Have you guys ever seen this guy before? Oh man, this is awesome. Yeah. Oh, you guys want more of that? Okay, I'll do one more if you want. Fine. This guy over here trying to dance to it. This guy right here. He's like, that's a good beat right there. Which songs were included as an encore? Did he play Piff Piff Tish Tish Dick Dick Rotate the Desk Part 2? Table flip at the end got me clapping. Why was the audience so quiet? Oh man. I'll show you another cool one. This one's kind of weird. Let's see. Lightning. Oh yeah, Dracula Mountain's pretty good. So this guy wears this mask, and he's got like a microphone built into his mask. And I don't know if he's the drummer. I can't remember. There's a drummer and like a bass or a guitar. I can't remember. That part where he drinks the water is so good. I think he's getting some electrolytes. I gotta find a better one. Let's see. It's crazy. He's got this weird mask, and he has like a mic built into it.
10 plus 3, 13.
So there you go, freaking out. Yeah, it's funny because when we were listening to some of that like Count 5 and all that stuff, I'm like, that just sounds like the Beatles. Like they basically just took that stuff. It's so far out, it's straight down. How did we get on this track from Bigfoot? Freak Out. Oh yeah, because the guy said something about Freak Out, and then I looked up Frank Zappa. Oh, UFO Club, Unlimited Freak Out. Interesting. Hippie counterculture. was something else I was going to click on. Where was it? Or maybe it was up here. Maybe it was on this one. No. The term freak out music would be applied to a lot of Frank Zappa's work from the 60s. Yeah, I could see that. The Bonza Dog Doodah Band. Really? The Bonza Doodah Band. Alright, I want to hear what they sound like. Neil Innes later changed his name to Ron Nasty and formed the Ruddles, along with singing minstrel songs for I wonder if that really was him in the movie. From, what was that movie? Monty Python and Holy Grail. Yeah, I really didn't like that. I don't know. I mean, I didn't hate it or anything, but... Art school students. Art school. Katie and I were talking about art school earlier today. People were saying, you should just go to art school. Avant-garde. The term avant-garde identifies an experimental genre or work of art and the artist who created it, which is usually aesthetically innovative whilst initially being ideologically unacceptable to the artistic establishment of the time. The military metaphor of an advance guard. Oh, okay. Anti-novel. The artists who created the anti-novel and surrealism were ahead of their times. What is anti-novel? Ah. Experimental work of fiction that avoids the familiar conventions of the novel. There's the famous Fountain by Marcel Duchamp. In the Society of the Spectacle, Guy Debord said that the financial, commercial, and economic co-optation of the avant-garde into a commodity produced by neoliberal capitalism makes doubtful that avant-garde artists will remain culturally and intellectually relevant to their societies for preferring profit to cultural change and political progress. In The Theory Death of the Avant-Garde, Paul Mann said that the avant-garde is economically integral to the contemporary institutions of the establishment, specifically as part of the culture industry. Huh. Avant-garde music. Let's see what they say. So we got a lot of like 20th century composers. Stravinsky, Faris, Stockhausen, Laurie Anderson. Interesting. Henry Cowell. Henry Cowell. The 1960s saw a wave of free and avant-garde music in the jazz genre, embodied by artists such as Ornette Coleman, Sun Ra, Miles Davis. The art descriptor in rock music was generally understood to mean aggressively avant-garde or pretentiously progressive. Post-punk artists from the late 1970s rejected traditional rock sensibilities in favor of the avant-garde aesthetic. Sun Ra is one of my favorite jazz artists. Brutalist architecture was greatly influenced by an avant-garde music or movement, really. That looks great. Yes. Jesus, that looks like crazy. Reminds me of the University of Houston. New brutalism. Jeez. I feel like I've seen that before. Somewhere. Jeez, look at that thing. That looks crazy. Wow. Neo-brutalist. Look at that thing. Reminds me of the Obama library. This is the Obama library. I don't know if it's actually built yet, or maybe it is. Look at that thing. Explore. Culture on a budget. First time visit. Hidden gems. Families, couples, LGBTQ+. Chicago has a way of making everyone feel welcome. Year-long pride celebrations. Wouldn't you feel excluded though if you're what do you call it? If you were part of the plus? There's some weird stuff though. Look at that thing. You are America. What does it say? Something by habit and... What the hell does it say right there? You are America. Unencumbered. What is this word? Ed? By habit and unencumbered by... No, unencumbered... To serve we be for every the country. What the hell, dude? What does it say on that? Does it say what it says? Locally referred to as Obamalisk, has been described as brutalist. Yeah, that's why I thought of it. Ready to seize. I'm gonna look up what it says. What does it say on the side of the... It filled it in for me. You are America. Unconstrained by... Oh, it probably wraps around the side, maybe. Unconstrained by habit and convention. Unencumbered by what is. And ready to seize what ought to be. Oh yeah, it wraps around the side. You are America, unconstrained by habit and convention, unencumbered by what is, ready to seize what ought to be. For everywhere in this country, there are first steps to be taken. There is new ground to cover. There are more bridges to be crossed. America is not the project of any one person. It's like they literally just put this as a fuck you to Trump. The single most powerful word in our democracy is the word we. We the people. We shall overcome. Yes, we can. That word is owned by no one. It belongs to everyone. Oh, what a glorious task we are given to continually try to improve this great nation of ours. I mean, it all sounds really nice. The Selma to Montgomery marches. Dang, did they make those people march in wheelchairs? We are America, but they only put black people in front. Maybe that's just his family. I shouldn't make assumptions. The story of Selma. I don't know. It's also, well, I was going to say a certain word, but we are the bridges. We are the bridges. We the people standing on indigenous land. We the descendants of the enslaved. We immigrants. We dreamers. We good troublemakers. We ordinary heroes. We freedom seekers. We great migrators. We laborers. We artists. We truth tellers. We hope dealers. We who know that love is love. We stand on the victories given to us by broken bones and bloody Sunday-soaked soil. We the legacy, we cross the bridges, linking us to our past, stretching into our futures. Whether they are raised to keep us out or lock us in, whether peril lies in wait or they are waiting to be built, we move forward with an apple, a toothbrush, a book, and hope in our bags. We the promise keepers, we hold the truths that all of us are created equal. We are fighting to form a more perfect union. We who are not weary, we who shout, yes we can. We the people, we are the bridges, we Americans. All right. All right, you know, I feel like we need to watch some slam poetry now.
The first time I saw her, everything in my head went quiet. All the tics, all the constantly refreshing images just disappeared. When you have obsessive compulsive disorder, you don't really get quiet moments. Even in bed, I'm thinking, they're locked door yet, wash man's yet, locked door yet, wash man's yet. When I saw her, the only thing I could think about was the hairpin curve of her lips, or the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash.
Okay. A slam poem to bacon? No, thank you. I want like some real slam poetry. Deaf poetry, knock knock. Okay, let's try that.
As a boy, I shared a game with my father. Played it every morning till I was 3. He would knock on my door and I'd pretend to be asleep till he got right next to the bed. Then I would get up and jump into his arms. Good morning, Papa. And my papa, he would tell me that he loved me. We shared a game. Knock, knock. Until that day when the knock never came. And my mama takes me on a ride past cornfields on this never-ending highway till we reach a place of high, rusty gates. A confused little boy, I enter the building carried in my mama's arms. Knock, knock. We reach a room of windows and brown faces. Behind one of the windows sits my father. I jump out of my mama's arms and run joyously towards my papa's, only to be confronted by this window. I knock, knock, trying to break through the glass, trying to get to my father. I knock, knock as my mama pulls me away before my papa even says a word. And for years he has never said a word, and so 25 years later I write these words for the little boy in me who still awaits his papa's knock. Papa, come home, 'cause I miss you. Miss you waking me up in the morning and telling me you love me. Papa, come home, because there's things I don't know, and I thought maybe you could teach me how to shave, how to dribble a ball, how to talk to a lady, how to walk like a man. Papa, come home, because I decided a while back I want to be just like you, but I'm forgetting who you are. And 25 years later, a little boy cries, and so I write these words and try to heal and try to father myself, and I dream up a father who says the words my father did not. Dear son, I'm sorry I never came home. For every lesson I failed to teach, hear these words. Shave in one direction with strong, deliberate strokes to avoid irritation. Dribble the page with the brilliance of your ballpoint pen. Walk like a god, and your goddess will come to you. No longer will I be there to knock on your door, so you must learn to knock for yourself. Knock down doors of racism and poverty that I could not. Knock on doors of opportunity for the lost brilliance of the black men who crowd these cells. Knock with diligence for the sake of your children. Knock for me, for as long as you are free, these prison gates cannot contain my spirit. The best of me still lives in you. Knock with the knowledge that you are my son, but you are not my choices. Yes, we are our father's sons and daughters, but we are not their choices. But despite their absences, we are still here, still alive, still breathing, with the power to change this world, one little boy and girl at a time. Knock, who's there? We are.
Wonder what his dad did. Do you think he just got, like, put in prison for some bullshit? That was pretty good, though. Australian Poetry Slam champion, The Broken System. Let's go. All right.
When I left school at the age of 18, I knew more about the curriculum than I knew about myself. Led by perfectionism and the fragrance of an A, I was swept up in its promise that I would be an adult when I left. But this industrialist model is numbed efficiency. We're working in factories, had our activities broken up by bells, that I was lulled into the routine of rote memorization. So as I walk into a job interview, they ask, what are your strengths? And I say, I can recite the first 13 numbers of pi. Education feels misunderstood. School tells us that the answers to our questions can be found in the back of a textbook, but to save our burning questions for after class. And it seems ironic that at 18 I couldn't finish an essay on time, equated poetry to old white men, couldn't find the right rhymes, couldn't feel the music underneath, so naturally, I became a teacher. I realized unsustainable in existence where we teach through standardization, trying to fit diamonds into square blocks. Where we work against a system, shepherding students like cattle, some sprinting to keep up, but others slowing down with a yawn. A system that decided mastery of knowledge is overrated and to move on to walking when we haven't even learned how to crawl. It seems school is indoctrination when knowledge is standardized regurgitation, and sure, we have creativity, but under the chains of an HSC. Our goal should not be to make conformists, but creators, fueled by critical thinking, lateral thinkers, so all the misfits, outcasts who didn't fit into the mold. The system should see your unrestricted potential. That difference means brilliance, and that be education.
Cool points. Don't forget to brush. I'm just reading. Interesting. It's like, I mean, it's cool what she was saying, but like, it's not really that. I don't understand what is slam poetry. Like, you just say it in a weird way. Competitive performance-based art form where poets recite original work, often tackling social, political, or personal topics before a live audience. It's all about social problems. That's interesting. Competitive poetry performance. Oh, isn't that funny? It's a competition. Like, she won the championship. It's kind of ironic, right? You're like, dude, I talked about the problems in this world so good that I won, motherfuckers. You suck. I'm the best performer of this poetry. That's funny. Performing competitive poetry. Who would have thought? Competitive poetry involves judges, performance-based spoken word poetry slams. That is so funny. It's a competitive art event. American poet Mark Smith believed the poetry scene at the time was too structured and stuffy. So we should make it more competitive. Before the competition begins, the host will bring up a sacrificial poet whom the judges will score in order to calibrate their judging. A single round at a standard slam consists of performances by all eligible poets. Most slams last multiple rounds, and many involve the elimination of lower scoring poets in successive rounds. An elimination format might run 8-4-2, 8 poets, and then 4, then 2 in the last. If you get the most points, she's like, the school system treats us like a number. Gives you a score, puts you out the door, makes you think that there must be something more than just a number. You're more than a number. But give me the highest number for this poetry so I can be the winner. I can get the one, the prize, the number, the A, the recognition that I never got in school because I was too busy writing poetry in my notebook. Books. Why do we read books? In school? At home? Put me down in the book as the number one poet and give me the prize. That was pretty good. I mean, I think I might actually win if I enter one of these things. All right, I jest. Ballroom scene? In the mid-20th century, as a response to racism and integrated drag spaces. There was racism in the drag spaces? That seems odd. The balls evolved into house ballroom where Black and Latino attendees could walk in a variety of categories for trophies and cash prizes. Since the beginning of colonial settlement in the United States, there have been individuals who have challenged gendered expectations. However, it was not until the mid-19th century, as urbanization allowed for increased independence and anonymity, that cities provided a space for LGBTQ+ communities to form and to walk for trophies and cash prizes. In the 1880s, drag balls became a popular gathering space. This has been going on for a while. Many of the attendees were formerly enslaved black men. What? Swan and the other attendees were arrested in police raids numerous times, but the balls continued. The strangest and gaudiest of all Harlem spectacles. It is the ball where men dress as women and women dress as men. During the height of the new Negro era and the tourist invasion of Harlem, it was fashionable for the intelligentsia and social leaders of both Harlem and downtown area to occupy boxes at this ball and look down from above at the queerly assorted throng on the dancing floor. Males in flowing gowns and feathered headdresses, and females in tuxedos and box-back suits. There are entire worlds within worlds. There are entire scenes within. What does the AIDS HIV epidemic have to do with anything? Transgender people of color and men who have sex with men are the highest risk communities for contracting the virus in the U.S. Project Vogue researchers utilized the house family structure by taking 15 mothers, fathers, founders, and more on a retreat to gauge the community's knowledge of HIV. We're encouraging them to teach their children about HIV prevention. They're like, the family unit is a modern imperialist structure, but it actually works pretty well when you're trying to teach people about things. Houses function as alternative families, primarily consisting of Black and Latino LGBTQ individuals, and provide shelter for those who feel ostracized by conventional support systems. Houses are led by mothers and fathers who are experienced members of the ballroom scene. Typically, drag queens, gay men, or transgender women provide guidance and support of their house children. The children of a house are each other's siblings. This kinship extends further into a family tree of aunts, grandparents, and other family roles. The Royal House of LaBeija. Oh, it's like Harry Potter. The House of Latex. The Gorgeous House of Gucci. The House of Amazon. All right, you know I gotta look it up. Hide your kids. Hide your wives. Because we're about to go to the ball. Oh yeah, I've seen this stuff where they walk all weird and they do this thing. Here we go. Okay. Come on, you know I got it. I don't know if they're going to copyright strike me, though. 5 elements of voguing. All right, here we go. I can get to that.
Hi guys, my name's Kenny from the International Iconic House of Revlon, and this is
Gemma.
See, look, we've already built context. This is pretty cool. The Iconic House of Revlon. So now we know what house he's in.
And we're here with Student Pride. And
she's not even in a house.
We're going to teach you how to do some voguing.
All right.
So I know voguing has something to do with Madonna, but what more is there?
Voguing, well, ballroom, where voguing is from,
I'm just getting ready.
Came from the late 1970s because the POC community felt really segregated from the general LGBT community. So we created our own safe space.
I definitely
our own
cannot do
haven
that.
Where we can express themselves in their all queer identities. And then we came up with the dance voguing.
That's so cool. And what does voguing mean to you?
It means that I'm able to express myself in whatever queer way and fantasy that I want to be. If I want to be creative with my look.
I don't even have to dance to express myself in a queer way. I just walk around and talk to people.
My sexual expression, my gender expression, just really be my true arty self. So there's 5 elements to voguing, and I'm going to teach you guys through it. So let's get started. The first element of voguing is hand performance, where we use our hands to express ourselves.
Okay.
So we can start with just,
Oh.
Yeah, be like this.
No, don't do it that way. That's not expressing yourself correctly. You got to do it this way. What if I want to do like this? Can I do like this if I want to vogue? Can I be like? So that's how I want to express myself doing it. That fits me.
It's my hands.
Okay.
This is my face.
Okay.
And then you can flick someone away. You don't want that. Yeah, you don't want that bad energy. 2019. You don't want it. And you can use your hair. Right? And you just feel it.
All right.
The second
I can get into
element of
that.
voguing is catwalk. So we're going to take a step back.
I don't think I
to
can do this
one,
part.
And we're going to focus on bringing out the hips and taking a step forward.
All right.
And then you switch. And then you just switch.
Okay. Switch.
And switch.
Switch.
And switch.
Switch.
So come, let's go. Boom. Boom. Ow. Ow. Just like that.
Okay.
Do you have to practice this?
Now we come into element 3, which is the duck walk. So we're gonna have to get on our knees for this one. So we
I'm
just got
not doing it.
kick a leg out per time like this. You got it, there you go. Ooh, ooh.
That's actually what I do when I'm gardening, pulling weeds. Like I kind of like go down the row and I do that duck walk. And then I'm like, when I'm picking the weeds, I'm like doing this. Just imagine my duck walking while I'm picking the weeds. And then I like to fling them over my shoulder. And sometimes I like to eat one like that.
Oh, no, you don't want to fall. That's how you get your chop. 1, 2. Hey, there you go. Yes. Oh. Now we come into element 4, which is floor performance.
Okay.
Where we really just take the floor on our own. We make it ourselves, and we just use our legs, our arms. We just extend.
Our beagle does a floor performance every morning when I forget to let her out.
We pose.
Okay.
So let's get on the floor.
What are we
Let's
doing?
start like this.
Oh, okay.
You know, and you feel it.
Like.
Yes. Yeah, and then you can switch. And you can switch. And you can kick. Yeah. And then that's how you go into your next element. And if there's someone in front of you,
Yeah.
you just go you're not better than me. You kick out and you kick back.
But if you don't like him, you flick him away. Get out of here. I don't like your, but you, come over here.
You look up. Use that hair. Just yes. So now the final element of vogue, which is the dip. Some of you know it as the death drop. So if I get you to stand back so I can demonstrate.
Okay.
You don't have to do it as quick, but it'll just be like a quickly. So you bring this leg out.
Yep.
Dip, back, hands back, leg up. Boom.
That's the moment when you do that they administer the government euthanasia in Canada. They're like, all right, do your thing. You do the little voguing. You do your death drop. No, I'm not promoting that they should do this to people. I'm just saying that's how it's done in Canada. You can go do the research.
Just like that. Now that we've gone through all the 5 elements of vogue, Gemma is going to put them all together and let you have it. Catwalk. Work. The hair. Yeah. Out. Doing all types. It's variation.
Oh. Okay, so we just slip out.
She is terrible at expressing herself. I want to see him do it. Come on. Enough of her. No, more of the guy, yeah. That's some pretty good self-expression. I was impressed with that. The latex ball.
And you bitches better not disappoint. Crash.
It's all about self-expression, guys. It's all just about expressing yourself and being inclusive. But you bitches better not disappoint. Why does it they have to call each other bitches?
Crash, 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 crash. It's adorable crash. Bush Queen Vogue Femme, $1,000 in the name of the legendary Cassandra. I don't see no Vogue Femmes lined up at the back. Music! Let her in slumbers tonight at 4.
Oh.
Open up the door. Oh, come on, let me in. Open up the door. Come on, nigga, let me in. Open up the door. Oh, come on, let me in. Open up the door. Come on, bitch, let me in, yes. Oh, open up the door, yes, let me in. Oh, it's hot.
Oh, death drop. I recognize that. Floor work. Good floor work.
Yeah, close to me. Listen.
Not enough face, though. Here we go. Oh, now this one. I'm feeling like this one's going to be good.
Persia. We go engine, yeah. We go engine, yeah. We go engine number 900. New York State.
Oh, that's one I haven't seen before. Death drop. Floor work. Oh, that's a good one. Whoa. Who's this guy? Oh. Damn. With spiky heels.
Ink C, you will go first for a minute. Lysandra, you go second.
Oh, look, an actual woman. Is that allowed? I mean, I'm assuming it's a woman.
Give a little this, you give a little that, and now it's time for my kitty cat cat. Who am I to put a cat cat? Who am I to put a cat? Bam! Kick.
That was pretty crazy. And you know when you eat sushi, you have to take the what's that stuff called? I never like it. The ginger to like cleanse your palate cleanser. So let's watch some sumo.
En nu de zwaarste, die Konishiki, de man van de 150 glazen bier. Een Megashira tegen Kotoinazuma.
There's no way the guy on the right is going to beat the guy on the left. Come on. Like, what are we even talking about here?
Aangekondigd als 275 kilo, maar het zal inmiddels 274 kilo zijn.
I see zero chance this guy is going to win on the
Want
right.
het is nog een beetje afgevallen, even sinaasappelhuid.
Kotoinazuma. Sorry, dude.
Kotoinazuma.
I don't see how it's possible. Sumo's interesting because like they have to go down and they like get ready, and there's no set point at which they have to like come together. It's sort of like intuitively they just decide when they're gonna do it. It's kind of weird. So sometimes they'll go down, but then no one will move, so they'll like get up and walk around somewhere.
Die heeft op het punt gestaan om Yokozuna te worden, maar die is inmiddels helemaal naar beneden gegaan en zit eigenlijk in de ja, laten we zeggen de vijfde klasse, de vijfde categorie.
They do this a lot. There's a lot of throwing rice or whatever that is. I think it's salt. 134 kilos. What was the other guy? Did they say?
Knieproblemen en dat ziet u
284 kilos versus 134 kilos.
Maar ja, als daar ook zo'n 265 kilo op leunt. Konishki was een man die vrijwel alles won, maar zijn vorm is aanzienlijk achteruit gegaan.
See, they didn't want to. Okay, they're gonna try again. Let's see. Nope, not
Hij
yet.
is wel populair bij het publiek. En we gaan weer aan de wandel. En we pakken weer een handje zout. Het is allemaal om de boze geesten te verdrijven.
Who do you think's gonna win? All they have to do is shove the other one out the circle.
Enorme vleesmassa's, hè. Enorme vleesmassa's.
Nope,
Nou ja.
not yet. Okay, he's getting ready again. Oh, it's gonna happen now. This time I can tell. Nope. Yes. Nope. So close.
Geconcentreerd.
It'd be awesome if the referee guy started doing slam poetry.
Als die Konishki moet ik zeggen. Konishki, ja.
All right, this is gonna be it, guys. This is gonna be the time. I'm guessing. No, probably not. Not enough time left.
Van de marinekapel.
Yeah, no. Oh, maybe. You gotta fix their little tassels. Here we go. I think this might be it. Oh, yep.
Zo. Ja.
Oh!
En zwaardere gaat onderuit. Kotoinazuma wint.
Yeah, I said they have to push him out of the ring or you have to knock the other person down. Either way. That was a cool move, though. There's all this theory that goes behind it. He just turns to the side and let the guy fall down.
So.
See, watch, he's going to move to the side. Yep.
Ja. En de zwaardere gaat onderuit. Kotoinazuma wint.
So what did you learn from that? It doesn't matter how big the opponent is. With superior skill and strategy, you can defeat an opponent twice your size. But if you don't like that kind of self-expression, you could learn to slam poetry. I want to see something that combines slam poetry, balling, I don't know what they call it, balling, and some kind of a sumo element would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Wait, is that real? Bears fighting? I think that's probably Bigfoot. Yeah, how did we get here? I don't know. It all started from human hybrids, pig-human hybrids. Think about it. While people are doing this,
Neuralink.
There's a guy playing Call of Duty with Neuralink. While these queers are over here dancing, Neuralink's over here creating brain implants. Meow, 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 meow. There are many, many ways to distract yourself in this world. Many, many ways. While the world just goes on deeper and deeper into madness. Psychosis for everyone. Existential crisis for everybody. Machinic desire. Pods. Oh yeah, I forgot to do the screen share. Politically organized defensive systems. It's a weird way to. It's a weird word to use. In particular, fusion with the matrix. Where'd it go? And deletion of the human security system must be subjectified, personalized, and restored to the macropod's individual reproducer units. Okay. I'll skip that part. It's a little naughty. I mean, think about it. While people are out here, like, perfecting this, we've got other people figuring out all the ways in which AI is going to screw us. Well, sweet dreams, everyone. If you get any secret messages in your dreams about the future, let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. If you have any dreams about things that you want to hear about on the stream, any messages from entities, perhaps a future version of yourself in a parallel reality that says, you know, I want to know more about LGBTQ plus slam poetry. I'm always open to that. Yeah, what can I say? There's so much, like, weird shit. I remember one time I was at somebody's house, and I was like, have you ever seen actual drag queens before? And they were like, well, I know what drag queens are. I was like, no, like, for real? So I showed them all my research on drag queens on YouTube, and it is quite the rabbit hole. I'm probably not going to show that stuff on stream, but it is insane. So when you hear about people saying, like, oh, you know, you got to have drag queens at the libraries reading to your kids and all about inclusivity. No, like, it's like weird shit. It's like dark. It's like super hyper masculine competitiveness. And just like, it's weird because you would think being a drag queen would be like sort of, oh, it's a guy who wants to be a woman, but it's not. It's like this super hyper competitive, weird environment. The mind has many dimensions to it. Famous drag queens. I don't know who y'all's favorites are. Ahura. That's she's pretty. Acid Betty. Acid Betty. I'm trying to see what my favorite one. Alaska Thunderfuck. That's one of my faves. Top 10 for sure. If you want to scare yourself, go watch some Alaska Thunderfuck videos on YouTube. Her first studio album, Anus, was released in 2015, followed by her second album, Pound Cake. Her third album, Vagina. I said I wouldn't go there, but I won't. I'm not going to play the videos. Your makeup is terrible. Nails. Hi. This is my hair. The shade of it all. Gimme all your money. It's all like about talking about how you're the best. It's like all of the worst elements of rap music and really scary men. French Canadian. What's up with that? There's another one. Oh man, there's so many on here. Jeez. Bag of chips. Bag of chips. Beta nonstop because he's Indian. Betty barbecue. I don't even know how you would say that. Bitch pudding. Bitter Betty. That's a woman? I don't know. Sarah Andrews is like maybe a trans person. Bob the drag queen. All right. And comedian. Bones. I mean, dude, it's like some weird dark stuff. Bump of Love. Burrita Brona. Like a weird, captivating cat. Charity Case, that's funny. Cheddar Gorgeous. La Chola Chabuca. Cookie Cunty. Desmond is amazing. They've been performing since they were 8 years old. An American former child drag performer. Yeah. I remember watching some stuff about that kid, and he was saying that his mom would play RuPaul's Drag Race like when he was like 2 years old. And so he like became obsessed with becoming a drag queen. Fufu Lamar. Look at this one. Formaldehyde. That's pretty funny. Ginger Minge. Gingzilla. That one's not even trying. Harvey Firestein. Is that actually a drag actor? Or is it just some random guy they threw in there? Head of lettuce. Oh man, Hormona Lisa. Hot chocolate. International Crisis? What the hell? Ivana Drink. Jiggly Caliente. Jimbo. Yikes. There are a lot. Calorie Carbdashian. Karen from Finance. What? Cornbread Jete. Dude. Lady Boom Boom. Lady MAGA. A Trump supporting drag queen? What the hell? Little Miss Hot Mess. There's a lot more than last time I started when I was studying drag queens. Maybe a girl. Maybe not. Molly Poppins. Obama? There's one called Obama? Okay. Yeah, I wonder how they picked their name. Peaches Christ. His senior thesis film Jizz Mopper. A love story about a janitor at an adult video store. I feel like they're just messing with everybody, man. Look, there's just like there's a whole world out there all about evil. Oh, it's just some movie. Okay. Pussy Tourette? Oh, man. This is crazy. I want to know who the top ones are. Tessa Testicle. Trampolina. Victoria Porkchop Parker. Weeby. Zilhouette. Top drag queens. The top 20 best. I want to know, like, number 1. Bianca Del Rio. I don't want to do like a copyright video. If it's something from TV, Bianca Del Rio. Bianca Del Rio stand-up.
Excited to see the cast of Cocoon is here. You look fabulous.
Oh, it's like from the show. Okay, I don't want to see that. It's like stand-up comedy. That looks insane, dude.
Let me just tell you this right now. I like to say something hateful. I like to draw the line, turn around, cross it, and snort it. So you. That's what you paid for.
This is a comedian. I feel like they're just having fun. That's all it is. Just having fun. Let them in the libraries, guys. They're just having fun. Let them in the libraries. They're just talking about snorting lines, having fun. There's nothing bad about it. There's nothing that's not child friendly. Come on.
Happens. So this is my closet. As you can see, I'm very understated. I don't like color. I like simple, plain, natural things. That's what most transgendered clowns wear. But I do like lots of sequins, the usual. Have it in all colors. Sequins and silver and green and silver and gold. And this is my process. It's a pretty small closet, but back in the South, I had a big closet, but here in New York, things get smaller because it's cold. This makes me blush. Stop messaging me, RuPaul. Send.
Lady Bunny is here as a reminder of the struggle we went through as drag performers. She started this early on, and you look at her. She's a symbol of success, and she's also a big reminder to the gay community. And that means when you become 68 years old, find a better job. This is what happens! Oh, I'm getting excited. It's always good to wear white in your third trimester.
Just kid-friendly stuff, guys. I don't see what the big deal is. Like, why can't they read to your kids in a library? What's the big deal? They're just having fun. All right. I feel like I've tortured everybody enough. I mean, what was worse? The guy with the drums, banging on the drum, or having to watch the drag queens? To me, it's all fascinating. I'm very fascinated by pretty much everything, as you can see. It's all interesting to me. And makes you wonder what the aliens are really thinking about our human collective expression. Do you think the aliens are watching like the drag queens and the schizophrenics and the guy playing his drum and Lady Hong or whatever her name was, and they're just like, you know, we just need to help you guys out a little bit, you know? You just need to learn about polarity and, you know. But then every time they talk, they're like, look, you're just choosing your reality, and everything you choose is good. Oh, man, I have a funny idea. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but because I have to update my computer, because I'm still running like some old operating system. So I have to update it past like 13. What am I running on here? I'm running 12.7.6, which is like super old. So I have to update it because I found this app where you can do like face filters and stuff. And I was just thinking it'd be funny to like change like the background and put on a face filter and like be like someone like channeling, you know, or like a law of attraction guru or something like that. I just thought it'd be funny. It's kind of like my version of being a drag queen, basically. It's kind of what I'm getting at. But anyways, I have to sort that out because there's apparently a way you can have a real-time face filter and do it on like Kick live stream and so forth. So we'll see if I can figure that out. But I thought that might be funny to do segments like that. I shouldn't have said anything. I should have just surprised you with it. But like, I'm really not good at keeping secrets, or, I mean, trust me, I have lots of secrets. You don't know anything about my drag. Oh wait, we're supposed to tell you about that. You don't know about my slam poetry. You don't know about my drag queen stuff. I have a drum. Actually, if you wait just 1 second, I'll show you something. You didn't know about that, did you? I don't have any drumsticks. What I prefer to use is a zip tie. Then I like to do this a little bit. I can't flip my table over, but, you know, it's just some of the things I like to do. You know, when I'm not doing my drag queen stuff and my mostly just drag queen stuff, honestly. It's pretty much that, and voguing. I do a lot of that, and I'm trying to get into sumo wrestling too. So we'll see how that goes. But that's hard to demonstrate live. All right, well, enough of my ramblings and rantings. And it's Friday, so I will see you guys again tomorrow night. I'm gonna practice a little bit on the drum. I know that wasn't, you know, that impressive, but you know, it takes a little. I have to get into it. Usually what I do is a little bit of meditation. I like to do a guided meditation. What I'll do is I'll put on a couple different drag queens I'll put them like in each ear, like a different drag queen, kind of depending on how I'm feeling. And I'll put like, you know, Bianca Del Rio here. Usually like some, oh fuck, I don't have the list pulled up. I forget the names. You know, just anyone at random, I'll put like in different channels. And that'll kind of do like a little guided meditation experience. And then just bust out my drum, give it a little couple whacks, you know. It's kind of how, it's what I usually do to prepare for the live stream. I just don't usually put that part on. So, you know, maybe sometime I'll show you some of that stuff. But, all right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow night, 8:30. And have a good night. We'll see you next time.